through checking the DNA or anything else will not help the child. Will help the child? No. And we saw that Shabd Praman, it has got, as any other bona fide way of learning, has three important constituents. There should be a bona fide institution, there should be a bona fide some bona fide books. So similarly, we see that in the Vedic process of learning also, there are bona fide institutions. What are those bona fide institutions? Right? What are the bona fide institutions if you want to understand Vedic knowledge? Where you will go? Huh? Guru Parampara, Gurukula. What are the four institutions? Sampradaya. Brahma, Shri. Gaudiya Sampradaya is Brahma Sampradaya. Brahma Sampradaya came as Brahma, Rudra, Kumar, and Shri. So Brahma Sampradaya, who was the prominent Acharya who spread the theology of Brahma Sampradaya? Madhvacharya. And who was the prominent Acharya in Shri Sampradaya? Ramanujacharya. And who was the prominent Acharya in Rudra Sampradaya? Vishnu Swami. And in Kumar Sampradaya? Nimbakacharya or Vallabhacharya. So these are the four acharyas who are like the most powerful preachers, you can say, who have displayed their extraordinary capabilities to spread the message. So these are the four institutions through which we can gain the spiritual knowledge or the Vedic knowledge. And how one can say that these are the four bona fide institutions? Because the knowledge comes through unbroken chain of disciplic succession. That is called parampara. What is parampara? Parampara is unbroken chain of disciplic succession. Guru Shishya Parampara. Guru and disciple Parampara. And this parampara is unbroken. And Srila Prabhupada, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada is the which in what position he comes in the unbroken chain of disciplic succession? 32nd Acharya in the unbroken chain of Guru Shishya Parampara, originating from Krishna himself. Krishna gave knowledge to Brahma, Brahma gave knowledge to Narada, Narada gave knowledge to Vyasadeva, Vyasadeva gave knowledge to Madhva. Like that, if you see in Bhagavad Gita, the whole chain is given in Bhagavad Gita. Just before the first chapter starts, you can see the whole chain. The 32 acharyas till now who have come in the chain of Brahma Sampradaya. Like that, you can track the parampara of any of the four sampradayas to assure that the sampradaya is a bona fide sampradaya and it's directly connected to Krishna. So now we have understood that the most perfect ways of gaining knowledge is through the Vedas, because Vedas are words of God, and through the words of God we can understand who is God. Right? Through the Vedas are like our mother, and Krishna is our father. So who will tell who is our father? Mother. Vedas, the mother. Veda Mata, Pita, Guru. So they both will tell us who is Krishna. So now, today we are going to understand the solutions for the problems of life through the Vedic knowledge. Right? What we want to understand through the Vedic knowledge? The first thing we want to understand through the Vedas is how I can be liberated from my existential sufferings. Right? I want to stop my sufferings. Because until unless you are liberated or you are relaxed from your sufferings, how you will inquire about who is God? Right? First of all, you would like to find out how I can stop my sufferings. So to find out this, we are approaching the Vedas. So today we are going to discuss these three basic topics, the real problems of life. Before finding out the solutions of our suffering, first we'll identify what are the real sufferings. Because before you publish or start doing your research work, first what you have to do, you have to do the problem identification. Then only you can start your research work on those problems, that how to troubleshoot those problems. So the real problems of life we will try to understand, and then we will see that how our attempts to solve those real problems of life are very temporary in nature, and it gives a temporary solution but not the permanent solution. And for the permanent solution, then we'll discuss how the Vedic wisdom offers the permanent solution for all the problems of life. So what are the real problems of life? So maybe we may consider that these are the real problems of life. If you ask somebody, what are the real problems of life, he may say that I don't have a good physique, I want to go to gym and improve my physique. Somebody may say I don't have a good job, I want to go to America. I want to do some startup. Somebody may say I have some family problems. Somebody say my wife doesn't listen to me. Somebody say I don't have money. Somebody may not be very handsome. Somebody may not have girlfriend. That is also a big problem now. So the next question comes, are these real problems? Because what is the definition of a real problem? Let us see. A real problem can be considered a real problem if it fulfills three criteria. There must be three criteria. Then it can be considered real problem. It should be common to all. Nobody should want it, right? Because if it's a problem, why others don't feel it? If it's a problem, everybody should feel it. Right? And nobody can avoid it. If it's a problem, real problem, then if somebody doesn't have that problem, then it cannot be a real problem. It's my personal problem. So if you see all these things, having money, good physique, to be handsome, all these problems are personal things, petty problems. These are not real problems because neither it is common to all. Right? Somebody may have sufficient money, somebody may have good physique, somebody may have sufficient wealth and fame and everything. And it's not that nobody wants it. And the problems which I may have, somebody may not have. And it's not that nobody can avoid it. Somebody may struggle hard and get sufficient money, but I'm not able to do that. So these problems are relative problems. These are not universal problems. But there are 4 universal problems, which is common to all. And nobody wants it and nobody can avoid it. So anybody would like to try? You can raise your hands. Death. Okay. Chandrasai, you would like to try? Hunger, it's not a common problem to all. For the poor, for the people who are not so wealthy, right? They are hungry, they don't have old age, diseases. No, it depends on how you manage time. There are people who have ample amount of time, they manage their time nicely. And they relax. And there are people who are so lazy, they're finding difficult to pass time. They have so much time. They're playing video games and they're going here and there. So you see here, what are the 4 problems? Birth, old age, disease, and it is said in Bhagavad Gita 13th chapter, 8th shloka to 12th shloka, it talks about this, the items of knowledge. What is knowledge? What constitutes knowledge? It is explained in the 13th chapter, 8th to 12th shloka. And in that it is said, knowledge means to understand that these 4 problems are the real problems of life. Understanding this, one should strive to come out of it, to solve it. A problem for 9 long months, the baby remains crammed up in the womb of the mother, and there are gastric fires, gastric juices, which burns the skin of the child. And there are acids in the stomach. There is acids. If the mother eats she eats some hot and pungent food, then immediately the child starts moving here and there, and the mother can feel the child is feeling pain because it burns the body of the child. So the pregnant woman is strictly told not to eat any hot food, right? And she should not take any medicine which is hot in nature. So because it produces some gastric fires and juices which will burn the skin of the child. And like that, the child remains crammed up in the womb of the mother for 9 months, and he suffers for 9 months like anything. And there are brothers along with the child. There are his co-brothers who live in the same womb. The insects in the womb, it's a dirty place, so there are insects in the womb. They are his brothers. They are staying together with him, and they bite the body of the child, and the child suffers because they try to bite the body of the child. So this is the suffering, and the child passes stool and urine in the same packet. The video is there, but it will take time. So old age, you see, how old age is a problem. The $1 billion cosmetic industry which is functioning, it's a proof that old age is a problem. So somebody may say, why you are discussing these negative things? Why don't you discuss something positive? But if you see, if these things are not worth to discuss, then why there are so many industries trying to avoid these problems, right? Trying to avoid the problem of old age, developing different kinds of hormones, different kinds of cosmetics. So it's a problem. You see, we are afraid. We are trying to build up our body, and gradually it will fade. So one should think, we don't want to become old, we want to remain young, but soon we grow old. The cosmetic industry proves it. Now, diseases. Is there anybody who can say that I don't get diseases? I'll not get diseases? How much ever you study medical science and you do exercises and yoga and pranayam, still you will get diseases, because it's the law of nature. Nobody can avoid it. Nobody wants it, nobody can avoid it. So it is, we all are being implicated in it. We want to remain healthy, but we suffer. So one should question that why. Similarly, there is death. It is said in the scriptures, in the Dharma Kand, it is said in the Garud Puran, Dharma Kand. So it says that when the hour of death approaches, a certain disease raises up its head. The organs grow weak, troubles start showing their powers, as if all of a sudden millions of scorpions have stung the person. So the pain of death is compared to millions of scorpions biting a person at a time. That is compared to the pain of death. In the disease condition, the dying person's eyes bulge due to the pressure of air from within, and his glands become congested with mucus. So all the bodily functions, all the organs, they start failing, and he starts passing stool and urine at the same time, and he cannot breathe, he cannot speak anything. So it's a very terrible condition. Death is a very terrible condition. Nobody wants it, but nobody can avoid it. So apart from these 4 problems, so the picture doesn't end here. Nature will not leave you in this. There are 3 other problems apart from these 4 real problems. That is called Adi Devik, Adi Bhautik, and Adi Atmik Klesh. Misery is due to one's own body and mind. Misery is due to other living entities, and misery is due to natural disasters. So we experience misery due to our body and mind all the time. The body and mind diseases is one of that different kinds of diseases, anxieties, depressions. Another is misery due to other living entities. Your roommate, some insect, some snake, some terrorist will come and try to bother you. So it's called Adi Atmik, Adi Bhautik, and Adi Devik Klesh. So we'll start one by one. Adi Atmik Klesh. So this is called misery due to one's own body and mind. So many people are suffering from heart diseases. suicides, teenage suicides, depressions, anxieties. These are called Adhyatmic Klesh. Adi Bhautik Klesh. Terrorism, snake bite, pickpocketers, flies, mosquitoes. So much arrangement is required. Fans and this and that. So many arrangements are required. Till now, it is said that around 10,000 army personnel are killed in Jammu and Kashmir just to stop those terrorists. So many people are dying because of this terrorism. Because they're fighting with each other. They're suffering and they're fighting with each other. This is called Adi Devik Klesh. The third Klesh is Adi Devik Klesh. This is due to nature. Flood, drought, tsunami, earthquake. This is due to nature. Nobody wants it, but nobody can avoid it. Adi Devik. Devik means nature. Now we'll come to the solutions. These are the, in total, how many problems we discussed? 4, 3. 4 and 3. So, 4 problems are? No. The 4 problems, what are those 4 problems? Death, old age, disease. Birth, death, old age, disease. So I'll give you a shortcut to remember. It starts with birth and ends in death. And in between there are diseases and old age. Easy to remember, right? In between also you will be taken care nicely. It will be taken care that you keep suffering. So is there any moment we can avoid this 4, 3 sufferings? There is no moment. Either of the 3 sufferings you are undergoing. If somebody may say, now at the present moment, neither I have suffering of birth, nor death, nor old age, nor disease. Okay? But another set of 3. You have suffering due to your body and mind? No. Okay. You have suffering due to other living entities? No. You have suffering due to some natural disasters? Somewhere in the world, you see, people are suffering from something or the other. All the time there will be some, you want to stay awake in the lecture and hear the lecture nicely, but your back pain, you sleep, and then some bodily trouble, right? Mind doesn't support, body doesn't support, and some hungry, many of you must be feeling hungry when prasadam will be there. Already so much time has passed, right? We may start thinking like that because the body is creating anxieties, distractions. So all the time, these troubles are there. Visit to other living entities, you may be anxiety, some presentation I have to give, that anxiety must be there. Exams are coming because there is a living entity who is ready to trouble you. The professor is Adi Bhautik Klesh. So all the time, something or the other. So the temporary solutions. Now we'll come to the solutions part. So we are trying to make out a solution. So we are trying to do the solutions by technological advancement, right? This is our approach in today's world. So now we'll try to analyze whether by technological advancement, whether we have solved the problems. So we see that over the past years, the number of diseases have increased, right? We have fewer diseases in the past and we have many more in the present. Even though the technologies have increased, we have better and better medicines. Today I was discussing with one of the PhD student, his name was Soumyadeep. He comes and takes prashad here. I was asking, he said, I'm going to CMC for my research. Okay, so what research you are doing? I asked him. He said, I'm doing research on antibiotics. So how do you do research? On what aspect of antibiotics are you doing? He said that the present antibiotics, they are failing to act on the existing pathogens and bacteria. I said, why? Because the bacteria, they are developing themselves. They change their bodily shapes, and the antibiotics, they work by identifying their bodily structure. But the bacteria, they are modifying their bodily structures. So now the existing antibiotics, it doesn't work. So all that time there is, you're trying to solve the problem, but the problem modifies. And then again there is a problem. And not just it modifies, it becomes even more bigger than what it was. And the bacteria, not only they are changing the bodily shape, they are becoming more and more resistant to the existing doses, and you have to increase the dose. And the more you increase the dose, it will harm the body because it's not natural for the body, but you have to give because we have come a long way and we have caught in a trap. The bacteria they are modifying. Right? Similarly, it happened in the Green Revolution. You put pesticides to kill the insects. Pesticides they became resistant. So you put more pesticides, they became more resistant. Then you put more pesticides, they became more resistant. And by the time the crop became poisonous. And now we are taking poison crops. The whole crop is filled with fertilizers and pesticides because now we are caught in a trap. If you don't put pesticide now, if you want to go back, now the pests have become so strong that it won't be killed by the way they were controlled in the past by cow urine or some neem. They won't be killed by those because you have disturbed the cycle. And when you put pesticides, the insects which are there in the soil, which increase the fertility of the soil, those insects also get killed. Right? So the whole fertility is hampered. So we all get trapped in our modern technological advancement because we are trying to manipulate nature, and nature is not under our control. We cannot manipulate nature. We have to align ourselves as per the law of nature. We cannot align the law of nature as per our desire. We have to align ourselves as per the law of nature. You are seeing the difference. The Vedic theology says that you abide by the laws of nature. You abide by the laws of nature. The modern advancement says we will make nature abide by our desires. We will change nature's way of functioning. The rivers are flowing, we will stop it and we'll make dams. Because we want to watch TV, we want to have AC, we want to have coolers, we will disturb nature. What you are going to do with dam? You will, I'll make electricity. What you are going to do with electricity? What we are doing with electricity? Watching TVs, doing some entertainment, nonsense entertainment. And what any sensible thing do we do with this electricity? Any sensible thing? Tell me. All sorts of manufacturing, all sorts of unnecessary things. All this whole technological revolution is just to manufacture unnecessary necessities. It's just to increase unnecessary necessities. People were, no, earlier people used to have just a neem stick. They'll brush their teeth and they'll throw the neem stick and they'll have a new brush every day. Every day they will have a new brush. And now what you do? You take plastic inside your mouth. Plastic is poisonous. Do we require any proof for that? And we take inside our mouth and we scrub it nicely. And we feel ourselves very advanced. At 6 months you use that plastic and you scrub inside your mouth. You're chewing plastic. Can you imagine how poisonous it is? It is said that in a year, every person consumes a plastics equivalent to a credit card. Plastics are in our blood. Sometime later we'll discuss a topic. A topic is there, plastics in blood. Plastic have got inside our blood. Because everywhere there is plastic. You are inhaling plastic, you are touching what you are eating. It's everywhere. So what has happened that in due course of technological advancement, we have disturbed the nature's laws, and consequently we have implicated ourselves in the hard consequences of the nature. So we are trying to overcome diseases, right? We are trying to overcome diseases, and in due course diseases are getting even more and more modified, and we are getting implicated in those diseases. Now you see, this is who you know who is who. Who is? What is his name? Muhammad Ali. So he used to say that nobody can defeat me. I am the greatest. He used to say like that, right? I am the greatest and nobody can defeat me. But what happened? When he became old, he got this disease, Parkinson's disease. and he became so weak that he could not even lift a cup of coffee. His hands used to shake like that. You want to see? You see, he's lifting that flame, and his hands are shaking. He used to say that I am God. He used to consider himself as God, and he could not even lift a cup of coffee. So whatever strength we have got, if we become puffed up and if we become arrogant due to that strength, forgetting that this strength what we have got is limited, and if you use it to revolt against the nature's law, then the nature's law will come upon us. So modern science has invented painkillers to avoid diseases, cosmetics to avoid old age, right? But just patch-up solutions. You know what is patch-up solution? Temporary solution. For example, there's a leakage and you put a patch over there. But will that work? It is just a temporary solution. After some time again, so you have to do a permanent solution. You have to change the tank or whatever. But you are just putting a patch-up. So these painkillers, if you are suffering from some disease and if I give you painkillers, go on giving you painkillers, will it help? No. It will just put a patch up. It will not solve the disease. So we'll see how it's a patch up solution. So Martin Luther King said, now man can fly like a bird in the sky and swim like a fish underwater in a submarine. The only problem is he can't walk on land like a human being because of pollution. Right? You see how much pollution is there. And this all pollutions are done on the name of solving the problem. Right? We are trying to solve the problem and we are getting implicated in much more bigger problems. Is it happening or is it exaggeration? Is it that I am exaggerating things? It's happening. Now we have even more bigger problems than what we had 50 years back. And now we are developing technologies for that. Now we are not developing technologies to solve the problems of life. Now we are developing technologies to solve the problems of technology. So earlier there were no roads. There were in villages there were no roads. So people were finding it difficult. So they used to go through carts, oxen carts were there. They were finding it difficult, and everywhere the ox used to put cow dung. So people thought maybe we should try to invent some bicycle. They invented a bicycle. Then they thought that the roads are not so good. So the bicycle, we have to put a lot of strength. So why not to invent a bike? They invented a bike. Then they invented a car. And now to get rid of the cow dung of the ox, they came a long way ahead and they invented a car. And now the car is polluting the whole atmosphere. So the cow dung of the ox was still better than the pollution of the cars, right? So the number of accidents each year which happens, it's just alarming. You see, it's alarming. You cannot even imagine. Thousands and thousands of people die every year through accidents. So you see, this is just a video which says that we are eating every year we are eating plastics equivalent to a credit card. So there are plastics everywhere. So science has invented bombs and nuclear bombs. So we is considered as advancement that we have invented missiles and bombs. 80% of the world's scientists are engaged in making war weapons. So scientists are there. Their minds should be engaged for creating something good for the society. But what they're engaged in, they're engaged in creating weapons for mass destruction. So that is where the science is being used for defense. The best of the technologies, it first comes to defense. And then after 10 or 15 years, you will get the technology in local market. So first that technologies are used for. So technology is not being developed to solve the problems of life, and the scientists are very much concerned that how common man is suffering and I should try to help them. No, they are busy in creating and bombing other nations and weapons for mass destruction. So this is what is happening. So what is the how the modern science has created only patch-up solutions, temporary solutions. So old age. So we have white hair. So modern science has given hair dyes. So are the hair dyes solution of old age? Wrinkles, facelift, diseases, back pain, stomach pain, painkillers. So is it that by painkillers there will be no more diseases? Again the diseases will come. Is it by putting hair dyes there will be no more white hair, no more wrinkles? Again the wrinkles will come. So it's just an illusion. This technology is just creating an illusion. It's not solving the problem. It's just patching up the problem. There's no solution. You have to abide by the nature's laws. So these are very superficial solutions. So example is given here. Once there was a lady and she saw a very young, heroic personality coming on a horse. And the lady was anticipating by seeing that heroic personality was wearing an armor and a helmet and he is carrying a sword. And he was approaching the woman. So the woman was dreaming that if this man becomes my husband, how great it will be. We both will enjoy and the life will be so great. But the man, he came closer, and as soon as he got down from the horse, he opened his armor, and the woman saw that he has a big belly. Then he took out his helmet. Then he saw that he doesn't have any hair, and whatever hair he has is white. And then finally she saw that he's an old man. So this is what modern technological solution is. It appears to be very promising, and the anticipation is very huge, and that it will solve all the problems of life, and there will be no more suffering, and we'll just sit with the remote inside the room, and the robots will do all the work, right? And we'll just sit in the AC with a remote. No, it was being promised when technological revolution came. The scientists, they promised that in the future humans will just sit in the room with a remote, and the robots will do the farming, and the robots will do all the work. You see, but what has happened in the last 50 years? We are working double than what people used to work before, double and triple. People, they travel from Mumbai to Pune to work, such long travels, and then the work, they come back. So 10 hours, 12 hours, 14 hours is just an average. In the history, nobody worked for so much time. Nobody did so much of hard labor. So the modern society is just creating a class of hard-working laborers who are just working hard without thinking anything. They're just being exploited. The modern technological revolution is not being done for the welfare of the society. It was launched to create a class of laborers so that a section of people, they can exploit the mass and they can generate their profit revenues. It's an education of exploitation. It's not education of welfare, to do welfare of the society. But it appears to be very promising. Technological advancement appears to be very promising. Like you see, the cat imagines herself to be a tiger. The cat sees in the mirror and she feels that I'm a tiger. But just by imagining yourself that one day we will win over nature, and now we have created dams, and now we have created rockets, we will break over all the laws of nature, and will control all the planets, and we'll reach over all the planets, and we'll pollute. We have polluted this planet, we'll pollute Mars, and we'll pollute Jupiter, everywhere. We'll just destroy everything. Right? Why do you want to go to Mars? Right? Is this place not sufficient for your sense enjoyment? Because what is the problem here? Why you have destroyed this planet? You have created all sorts of pollution and hunger and this and that, and now you want to exploit it. So as you live properly in this place, right? Then we'll think of going to other place. So the cat imagines to be a tiger, but it will not help. Soon the reality will be exposed. So science and technology neither cannot stop old age, it cannot eradicate disease, nor death. So these luxuries and comfort, whatever we enjoy through science and technology, these are just limited to the body. The example is given here for a fish. You see a fish. So if you take out the fish from the water and give her all the facilities, give her all the comforts, you see the fish is given all the computer, laptop, some cigarette. You see she has some soft drink also, burger, money. Will the fish be happy outside the water, even if all the comforts are being given? No, the fish won't be happy because the shelter of the fish is in water. First, the fish has to be in its actual shelter, in its actual position, and in that position, she can be happy. So our position is with the nature. If we separate ourselves from the nature and try to enjoy the facilities of nature, separating ourselves from the nature, then it will not help. You have to live close with the nature. The more the humans they live close with nature, they will be happy. Now there are being tickets sold in some places in USA to touch the cow and to pamper the cow. So there are tickets being sold. So you go near to the cow and you touch the cow and you spend some time with the cow, and that technique is being used to relieve stress. Now earlier people used to do that. It was a part of their life. But now they become so far, and now they're doing the same thing with purchasing a ticket. They go there. Right? They go to farms. They stay there for some time. Now there is a culture. There are different communities who have come up. So they're doing farming. A lot of students who graduate from IITs and different prestigious institutes, now they are preferring to go back to their ancient roots to do some natural things. They want to go close to the nature. People are leaving their jobs, going close to the nature. So we are going other way around. Instead of catching the air like this, we are like this. We are catching our air. So the soul can be happy by establishing his connection with nature and God. The more we are close to nature and God, then we will be more satisfied and happy in our life, because He is our real shelter. As the shelter of the fish is water, similarly the shelter of the soul is God. So the more you are close with God, so the Vedic culture, you see, everything was connected to God. It was not that people were not using material facilities, material technologies. They used to use. They have nice technologies, architectural technology. They have nice agricultural technologies. So it is written, there was a viceroy called Robert Clive. He wrote that in a village in Arcot in Tamil Nadu, he wrote in a book that the farmer produced 40 bags of rice from 1 acre of land. It is unprecedented. Nobody can imagine. Even you put how much ever fertilizers you want to put, you cannot produce 40 bags of rice. Because they had such nice technologies, how to make good fertilizers, organic things, and they used to do that. And the same land which provided food for thousands and thousands of years, within this just 150 years, we have made lakhs of hectares of land barren. We check every year, thousands and thousands of hectares of land are becoming barren because of this technological industrial agriculture. It's called industrial agriculture. Industries have entered into agriculture. Now industries are entering into education. Industries are entering into health sector. All these important places which is very much sensitive to human living. So industries are trying to make profit in this. Biotechnology. There is no need of biotechnology. It was already existing. The nature already has the biotechnology. We don't need your biotechnology. This biotechnology is just to spoil everything. You create hybrid products. Why hybrid products are created? The hybrid products are created just to patch up, because because there is no food in the market. Nobody is trying to grow food. Just to cover up the shortage of food, they're trying to do hybrid. Because the organic food is not available. So, because if you go in the organic way, you need more manpower, but there's no manpower, nobody wants to grow food. So what to do? So produce hybrid. With less manpower you grow. But will you get the same thing? No. There is no taste, there is no color, there is no fragrance. It's just tasteless, odorless thing. You eat it and you will feel like to spit it. It's so nonsense. There's no taste. So all this biotechnology and those things, they're just spoiling, they're just making us away from the nature and gods. So when you are close to nature, then you feel the dependency on God. The more you are away from nature, the more you don't feel yourself connected to God. So for us, why is it difficult to accept God? Because we don't feel the need of God. Right? A farmer who's there on the field is dependent on rains. And if you ask from where, who gives you rain? So God gives us rain, right? Because it's not the control of, but we are also dependent on rains, but we have to make ourselves so separate from nature that we don't feel ourselves that we are dependent on nature. We feel that from where the food comes, Chandrasai? Supermarket, Walmart. Food comes from Walmart. From where the milk comes? Bhaiya comes and gives milk. This is what, if you ask a child, from where do you get food? From supermarket, Walmart. If the child is asking, he doesn't know, because there is such a big barrier. Nobody is able to realize that we are dependent on nature, and therefore it is becoming difficult to believe on the existence of God. Because once you accept that you are dependent on nature, and nature, you know that nature is not under your control, then immediately you will come to the conclusion that who is controlling nature? There is a God who is controlling the nature. But the whole chain is being broken. A wall is being created of man-made systems, obstructing our vision to God, towards God. So if you stay in the city, those big skyscrapers, nice furnished roads, health systems, education buildings, you don't feel the need of God, because you see everywhere, whatever you see is created by man. These roads and highways and big cities, everything is created by man. So you feel that we can do everything. There's no need of nature. But what we are doing, we are just manipulating things given by nature and artificially trying to imagine. So this is an example of desolate island. So the patch-up solution to understand is how this modern solutions are patch-up solutions. So once there was a person, he went for hunting, and while hunting, somehow he fall into a ditch or from in a valley. He slipped into a valley, and he rolled down, and finally he reached to the bottom part of the valley, the most deepest part of the valley. And when he woke up, he saw that the tribals, they took him in a stretcher, and all those, everybody was shouting some they were shouting, and they took that person and they made him to sit on a throne. He felt that they will kill him, but they made him sit on a throne. So he got surprised. Then they told him that now you are our king. So he was surprised. Now I am your king. So how come I am your king? So the tribals, they said, every year in the same time the nature awards us with a king in the same place. So this time nature has sent you. You have come down from the valley. So now you are our king. So then he asked, where are the other kings? Because he wanted to see that if I am the king, then there must be kings before me also. So where are they? So they said that actually what happens, the tenure of a particular king is only for 1 year, and after 1 year we send the king to a desolate island, an uninhabited island. We send them there. So after 1 year, so he asked, so is it that after 1 year I'll also be sent there? So the head of the tribal said, yes. So after 1 year you will also be sent there. So then he started thinking, so what should I do? So anyhow I have to die. So Then he used his brain and he devised a technique. He thought that since I have this period of 1 year, even though it's limited, but I have this period of 1 year, I have the power. So he decided I'll use my power and I'll arrange all the facilities in that desolate island for my living. So within this 1 year, he created a house there. He arranged all those facilities which were required for a living there in that desolate island. And after when his 1 year tenure got finished, so he enjoyed this 1 year, and within this 1 year, he worked in such a way that he created nice facility for after he will be thrown out from that position. Understanding that the position where I am in is not permanent, so I should utilize this position to enjoy in the present, and also I should use my brain and create facilities for the future. Similarly, in this human body, we should not just make ourselves so busy in enjoying the comforts and the facilities which are being avoided at the present moment, and being so absorbed to enjoy the present moment. If we put our future at stake, if you compromise and put your future at stake, then what will happen? We will be in great trouble, right? So it's not bad to enjoy technological whatever the technologies have come, but the technology we should not get so much engrossed in the present technological advancement that we forget that our existence in this world is temporary. Whatever facilities we are being awarded in this human body is temporary, and it will be thrown out from this facility. Is there any doubt in this, that this material body is temporary? So why not to use our brain and intelligence to create and understand that what is going to happen with me after I'll not be there in this human body, where I'm going to go and what situations I'll be put in. So now, this is the distinction between the wise and the foolish. The wise has firm faith in God, but the foolish, he ignores the existence of God. The wise abides by the laws of God, where the foolish is busy in just enjoying the property of God. Eat, drink, and sleep, be merry. So the wise remembers the reality. He's not so much engrossed that he forgets the reality. He knows that this material world is temporary. The enjoyment is temporary. I should not forget the reality. But the foolish, he's just absorbed in the temporary enjoyments without caring that he will have to bear the results of his actions. So the wise follows the regulated life of principles, whereas the foolish is envious of others and lives an unregulated life. Can you give an example of both sides, the wise and the foolish, from the some Vedic instance you remember? You would like to give an example, the wise and the foolish? The wise, and the foolish? Yes. Vidura and Dhritarashtra, you can say, both were brothers. So Dhritarashtra was foolish. He was so much absorbed in being attached to his sons that even though he was aware that this Duryodhana is a sinful son, and people told him that this Duryodhana will be the cause of ruining the whole dynasty, but he was so blindly attached to his son that he forgot that, and in due course, what happened? All the 100 sons of Dhritarashtra were killed because of this one arrogant and sinful person, Duryodhana, and the blind attachment of Dhritarashtra to Duryodhana. Because both. So as far as Dhritarashtra as a father, if you see, he's very nice. He's a loving father, right? And Duryodhana, he's a loving son. He loves his father. Both father and son is very, very nice. But both father and son, they are busy in creating sinful plans, trying to work against the will of Krishna. So our relations in this world, our temporary relations in this world, should not become so prominent, like the relation between Dhritarashtra and Duryodhana. We should not be so much absorbed in our temporary relations that we put our relationship with Krishna at stake. That whatever happens, even though I'll die, the Kumbhakarna, he was knowing, he warned Ravana that you have done a wrong thing. and because of you, all of us will die, and the whole Ravana will, Lanka will get destroyed. But Kumbhakarna said, but since you are my brother, I cannot leave you. I will fight for you. Yes, you see, such nice brother. So, whether is it that we have to become such nice brother? No, we should become brother like Vibhishana. Vibhishana was brother of Ravan, and he warned Ravan. And when he saw that Ravan is not listening to him, he left Ravan. Not that he's my brother, I'll die with him and live with him. It's a relation of 7 lives. 7 जन्मों का साथ निभाना है. जन्मों जन्मों का प्यार है. No, these songs will not help us, right? These songs are demoniac songs. They don't give you the idea of what is good and what is bad, what is ethical, what is proper and what is improper. And based on that, we have to act, not just janmo janmo ka saath nibhana hai. This will not help us. So, what we should understand is the mood of service will help us. So, all of us who are there in this life, within the family, within the society, within the country, are like passengers in a train. So all of us, we are traveling in a train journey, and as soon as the stations will come, different passengers will get down in their respective stations, destinations. Right? Everybody has got. So sometimes the husband dies and the wife cries, "Oh, my husband died." So she felt that both of them are will live for life after life. Both of them have eternal relation. She forgot that she is just a traveler, and his husband is also a traveler, and we are traveling in the same journey. And there will be a time when one of us will have to get down to our destination, because we all are traveling as per our karma. We have got a ticket. Somebody has got an AC ticket, somebody has got a sleeper ticket. Right? Some of us, our parents will be very rich, some of us, our parents will not be so rich. So somebody has got AC ticket, somebody has got a sleeper ticket. But if somebody is very proud of, you see, I'm traveling in AC, you see, you are traveling in sleeper. But what makes the difference? And anyhow, it's a temporary journey, and after some time it will end. So instead of being absorbed in our AC coach and sleeping and enjoying, we should remind ourselves that we have to get down and we have to prepare ourselves. I have got a work to do. I can't sleep. We have to remind ourselves. We can't just enjoy the existing comforts. Because we have to remember that this life is temporary. Right? You see, one by one, the passengers are getting down. So it says in Mahabharata, the one Yudhishthir asked Yamraj. Yudhishthir, you know Yudhishthir? He asked Yamraj, what is the most interesting thing in this world? So Yamraj replied, Ani ani bhutani gachanti hayamalayam sheshasthavram icchanti kimmaschayam matah param. Ani ani bhutani. Every now and then, people are being transported to Yamalayam. What is that Yamalayam? Abode of Yamraj. Who is Yamraj? Death. God of death. So every now and then, people are dying and being transferred to Yamalayam, the abode of Yamraj. But Shesha, those who are remaining, Shesha means remaining. Those who are remaining, Sthavram Ikchanti, they think that Sthavram, I will not die. I have got a lot of time. There's so much time I have. If some of our friend meets with an accident or dies with a disease, we will feel that, oh, my poor friend died. It was an unfortunate death. We feel that we are very fortunate because we have got so much time. So many things I have to enjoy. We don't realize that one day I'll also die. And I've got very less time. Anybody thinks like that? When some of our near and dear ones die, do we think like that? We think that, oh, poor fellow died. He was unfortunate. But what about us? Are we going to live forever? We are also going to die. How is he a poor? We all are poor fellows, subject to death. We are busy inventing, doing some research and technology and this and that. Okay. But what about death? Where you are going to go in the next life? What about that? Right? This is the most important thing. You can go in a train and you can open your whole suitcase and you can make a wardrobe in the train and make the whole coach as if you are going to live there forever. What people will consider foolish, right? People will consider you as foolish. They will see that he's going to get down in the next after a few stations and he has opened his whole suitcase and he has started cooking and he has bought his induction cooker and he is putting choke and cooking. This is madness, right? So we have to live like a traveler. We have to live like we are in a journey. So who is the mad, the foolish? He lives after petty pleasures of life, whereas he engages him in sinful activities, forgetting that everything is temporary. He lives life blind of truth, and he breaks God's laws due to uncontrolled senses. Is it clear? So you see, this is example of a foolish goat. Another example. You are able to understand what is happening? Can anybody explain? Can anybody explain? Anyone? Natural thing, the goats are coming and the slaughterer is slaughtering. What is? Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, the grass, the goats, they're not being tied. They're just being fed by green grass, fresh, green, juicy grass, and they're being so absorbed in the present, in the present situation that today they have got fresh, green, juicy grass. They're being so much absorbed that they forgot that after a few moments, the slaughter, even though one of their friend was being taken away, and they saw that he is being slaughtered, but they felt that I'll just finish immediately my green grass and I'll run. Just immediately, just it's about to just finish. We feel like that, right? Yes, I'll come to temple. Yes, we invite people. Come, sir, please come to temple. Please listen Bhagavad Gita. Yes, I have to come. I'm just planning. Very soon I'm going to come. And he's there in his 50s. And he's there in his 60s. And very soon he's going to come. Very soon he will not be there to come to temple, right? And he's postponing. Nature will postpone him. But he's not realizing. You see, he's seeing in front of his eyes that his friends have died, the friends with whom he used to stay. But he doesn't feel alarmed. He's busy. He's thinking that just let me finish my job. Existential responsibilities. I'll marry my daughter, I'll marry my son, and I'll arrange good facilities for them. But what about you, sir? You are so much bothered of your grandson and grandson and grandson and grandson. But you are not bothered about your own self. You are arranging money so that your grandson should not have to work hard. You are so much caring. But what about yourself? Why don't you care for your own self that you are going to die? Why don't you do something for that? But Andha Yathan, blind. Like Dhritarashtra was blind. He was not only physically blind, mentally, emotionally, he was blind. He was spiritually blind. We all are, even though we have eyes, but we are blind because we are not able to see the reality. We are seeing that every now and then people are dying, but we don't feel that we are dying. So our condition is like goats. Are we not behaving like goats? Is there any difference? Can anybody say that yes or no? There is a difference. We are trying to enjoy grass. They are trying to enjoy grass, but I am trying to enjoy my laptop and my Android phone. You see, this difference is there. Is it a difference? No. You are doing the same thing in a sophisticated way. They are enjoying my grass. So what happens when the goats are about to be slaughtered? They will start having sex. They think that, oh, it's the last moment, let us have the final pleasure. You see? This is in the concentration camps, when people were about to be sent to the gas chambers, before they were having, they thought, let us have sex the final time. So this is goat mentality, right? Until the last point, they cannot understand the fact that that sensual pleasure is temporary. Sensual pleasure is temporary, and there will be implications of that. You should not live a life of uncontrolled senses. Why you want to stop it? Fulfill your desire. Okay. So now we'll come to the permanent solutions. So we have got some few minutes. Permanent solution. What is the permanent solution? These are all solutions are temporary solutions. So what are the different comparisons which are made? It is compared to green grass being enjoyed by the goat, the comforts in a train journey, the comforts being enjoyed by the fish, being outside of water, but not being sheltered in the water. So these all things are temporary. Eventually, it will create frustration. The fish will get frustrated if it is not situated in water. The person who is traveling in the train, if he forgets that his destination, then he will miss the train, he will miss his destination, and he will suffer frustration. Similarly, the goat will be slaughtered, like that. And all the technological solutions, we saw that all the technological solutions are implicating us. They're not giving us any solution, but they're implicating us in more and more problems, right? So what is the permanent solution? If you want the permanent solution, Vedic literatures, they talk about these two important questions. Why am I suffering? What is the goal of life? First of all, we have to ask ourselves, why am I suffering? Why the nature is being so cruel on us? Right? The nature is behaving in a very cruel way. If you offer a death sentence to somebody, it becomes a national news that Kasab is being offered death sentence. It becomes a national news. But you see, every now and then the nature punishes us, and she slaughters us, and we are being hanged. The nature is hanging us. We are being punished to death in different ways. But nobody questions. But if anybody is getting a death sentence, it becomes a huge thing. Then why we don't question that the nature is giving death sentence? Why do we don't question that? What we have done? So we should ask, what is my fault? What I have done? Why nature is imposing so much sufferings on us? So why am I suffering? This is the first question. And the next question is, what is the goal of life? Because until you know the goal of life, you cannot understand what am I supposed to do in this moment. For example, you have come here in VIT so that you can, what is the goal of coming here in VIT? What is the goal? Huh? Okay, we'll give you a degree and we'll send you back. Job, you need job. Go ahead. You want degree? Who said you want degree? You will not sit in placement, okay? So you will go with the degree. You want job, right? Even though they may give you the degree or they may not give you the degree. If they give you a job, it's okay, right? So the goal of life, the goal of coming in VIT is to get a job. And every moment within these 4 years, how you're going to manage your lifestyle, how you're going to spend your time will be aligned to that goal, right? You cannot play a whole day football, or you cannot watch cinemas, and you cannot go to some mall and spend your whole day and months in the Vellore Fort. You cannot do like that, because you have to get a job, and for that you will have to manage your time and schedule, right or not? Similarly, why is it important to find the goal of life? It's not just we are artificially trying to bother you. We are not trying to bother you. You should know your goal of life. It is not some ethical thing, ethical or moral thing. It's the need of our life. Because if you don't know the goal of life, how will you live your life? For what you are living your life? If you don't know the goal of life, for what you are there in VIT, if you don't know, then you will take drugs, and every day you'll bring a bottle of wine and you'll drink and you'll lie down somewhere in the park or somewhere here and there. Right or not? They're doing, boys are doing. So, aimless and purposeless life will end up in frustration. So, why am I suffering? So, already we discussed the sufferings, right? What were the sufferings? Can anybody tell? Which we discussed just now? Birth, death, old age, disease, and Mrs. You too. Other living entities. These are the sufferings. So why am I suffering? We understood that these are the sufferings. Now the question comes, why am I suffering? So the example is given, why do we suffer? The example is given of a child who has lost his father. There is a child, he went to a fair, he was there with the father, but the moment he entered in the fair, he felt like sometimes the child, they do like that. The moment they will see a crowd, they will try to leave the hand of their father and they'll try to run into the crowd and then they'll try to enjoy the things. When the child does like that, then what will happen? He will be lost in the crowd, right? So we are like the lost sons of a billionaire father. So because we have left the hand of our father, so we are just lost in this struggle of existence. So our father is a billionaire. He's Lakshmipati, he's Vaikuntapati. So is there any scarcity? No, he is the owner of goddess of fortune. He is the husband of goddess of fortune. Where is the question that his sons will be unfortunate when our father is the proprietor of fortune? Then why, being sons of Krishna or God, why we are suffering in this? Why we are getting implicated in poverty, unemployment, hunger, starvation? Why? Because we have rebelled against the laws of our father. We don't want to abide by the laws of the father. So somebody may say that how spiritual solutions will help us. So spiritual solutions are again trying to rectify our rebellious attitude towards God, and again trying to remind us our lost relationship with our father. And the moment you revive your lost relationship, you start abiding by the laws of your father, then automatically all your necessities will be fulfilled. Now you see, just to do farming is such a great struggle to do farming. Earlier, the sand, the earth was so soft that plowing the land was not at all a difficult thing, because the mud was very soft. But by putting fertilizers and pesticides, we have made the mud so hard that now even the tractors are failing. The tractors, their flow, it breaks because it has become so hard. Now here in India, the trucks which are there, it is, what I remember is it is 15 horsepower or 16 horsepower. In America, it is 50 times more than that. Something like that. It is much more. The tractors in America are not the same tractors in India, because they in America they are putting even more fertilizer and pesticides. So the land has become so hard that they need tractors, very heavy tractors, because they have to plow deeper inside the field. So they are plowing very deep inside the layers of earth, and they are trying to poison it. So they have poisoned a particular layer. They invert it and they bring the lower mud, then they poison that, then again they invert it more deeper, and then again they poison it, then again they invert it. And how long it will go on? After a few times, because you are poisoning the nature, so it's becoming more and more hard. So life has become more and more complex. Nature has not made it complex. We have made it complex. Nature is very simple. Nature has made it very simple. So by aligning, we can avoid sufferings. What is the goal of life? So there was a story of Mahamurkha. There was a Mahamurkha. Have you heard this story, Mahamurkha? So there was a king. He was enjoying in his palace. He had his guru. Once the guru wanted to visit the king, and the guru came in the palace of the king, and the guru was seated on his throne, and he was very engrossed in his kingly enjoyments. There were queens and all those facilities where there were wine, queen, everything. So he was very much absorbed in that. So, and the guru came, his spiritual master came, And instead of, he saw his spiritual master, but he ignored. The spiritual master realized that he has seen me, but he is ignoring me. And he went back. And he, being compassionate, because the Guru is compassionate, so he thought, let me work out a solution to teach this person, to teach my disciple. So, in the palace of the king, the spiritual master once again went to the king, and he instructed the king. So, okay, you do one thing. I'm giving you a danda. Danda. You transfer it to the most foolish person in your country, in your state, the most foolish person in your state. You transfer this danda, and tell him, to whomsoever you give, you tell him to transfer it further to other foolish people, and in that way, you follow my instruction. He gave this instruction to the king. Then and he left the palace. The king called the most foolish person. He sent his ministers to call the most foolish person, and a person was called, and he was handed over this danda, and it was instructed that the moment you find better foolish person than you hand over this danda to him. And like that, in this way, years passed, and finally the king was about to die due to some disease. The king was about to die, and the king was surrounded by all his relatives and friends. And finally, the king realized that Mahamurkha, and the king called his ministers and told them that please call that Mahamurkha. I want to see him. So the Mahamurkha was called, and the Mahamurkha came with his danda, and he saw that the king was lying on the bed and all the relatives are crying. So he asked the king, what happened? Why you are lying on the bed? He said that I'm going to die. So the Mahamurkha said, so what is this death? So he said that I'm going to leave from here permanently. So the Mahamurkha said, where you are going to go? So he said, I don't know, but I'm leaving this place and I'll not come back. So the Mahamurkha said, so are your ministers and your soldiers going along with you? So the king said, no, what kind of foolish question is this? I am dying. How my ministers and soldiers will come along with me? So then the Mahamurkha said, so wait for a minute, I'll just pack some good food for you so that you can have it while going on your journey. You can enjoy the good food, and wherever you're going, you can enjoy that. So the king again became even more angry. You are trying to make fun. Don't you realize that I'm going to die? So you're actually a Mahamurkha. I was correct that I gave the rod to a proper person. So the Mahamurkha said, why don't you go along with your queens? You have so many beautiful queens. You spend your whole life enjoying with these queens. Take these queens along with you. The king became even more angry. You are actually a Mahamurkha. Nobody can be better fool than you. You don't realize that I'm going to die. I cannot take these queens. I cannot take my chariot. I cannot take my wealth. I cannot take my ministers and soldiers. I'm dying. Why don't you understand? Then the Mahamurkha handed over his rod to the king. The king became angry. You think I'm more foolish than you? Then the Mahamurkha said, yes, sir. Because you spent your whole life enjoying this temporary opulences, forgetting that you are going to die one day. And now when you are on the deathbed, now you are realizing that nothing will go along with you. And you spend your whole life considering that you will be here and you will enjoy the whole world. So that Mahamurkha was none other than another disciple of the same Guru. So the Guru sent his another disciple to act as Mahamurkha. So the king selected him, and in that way the Guru taught his disciple, king, and the king, but it was too late. He understood, but he was about to die. But we are fortunate. We have got the time. So what is the goal of life? The goal of life is to realize that we are not this body, we are spirit souls, and gradually overcome our tendency to exploit God's nature, transform our exploitative tendency to what? Transform our exploitative tendency to to service tendencies. We have to serve God. There is service and there is exploitation. So now what we are doing, we are trying to exploit God's nature. But instead, we have to learn the art how to serve God's nature, how to serve God's laws. So this is called Bhoga Vritti to Seva Vritti. Can you give an example of Bhoga Vritti? An example of exploitation, trying to enjoy the exploitation in some Puranic Leelas. Who was trying to enjoy by exploitation? Exploiting. Ravana? Ravana was trying to enjoy by exploitation. He wanted to enjoy Sita. Sita belongs to whom? Ram. But he wants to enjoy Sita. Why? The same tendency, exploit. I'll enjoy the property of God. This is for me. Like we think this nature belongs to me. It is for my enjoyment. We don't consider the nature belongs to Krishna. And we are trying to exploit nature. So in the same way, this is called Bhoga Vritti. And can you give an example of Seva Vritti? Hanuman. Yes. He utilized everything in the service of Ram. His whole strength, intelligence, and power, everything he used in the service of Ram. Vibhishana, Hanuman. So whether you want to become Hanuman or Ravan? Huh? Hanuman. Who said Ravan? Aryaman said. So we have to become Hanuman. Right? We should not copy Ravan. Maybe Ravan is very intelligent and he has a lot of scientific knowledge. He may have done PhD also. But even then, we will not copy Ravan. Whether he may be a professor, PhD, and a big Nobel Prize winner, or whatever, a big billionaire, but will not follow Ravan. We will follow Hanuman. We will follow Vibhishan. Right? Because and the end will be nice. Even though Vibhishan got a lot of insults because of leaving Ravana, he left all his empire, land and palace, everything. But the end of Vibhishan was good. Ram made him the king of Lanka. And he was honored, he was hugged by God himself. That is the success of life, being hugged by God. Right? Hanuman was being hugged by God, and Ravana was being shooted by God. So you want to be shooted by God, or you want to be hugged by God? So death will come. Sometimes people ask that the devotee will also die, and the non-devotee will also die. So what is the difference? The difference is the death will come in the form of Lord's mercy. That will be like God's hugging, and that will be like love of God. And death for a materialist will be like a punishment, fear of dying. The example is given of a cat. The cat carries a kitten and a mouse in the same mouth. One side kitten, one side mouse. But both of them are there in the same mouth. But one is feeling the fear of death, and another one is feeling the fear of love. When the kitten is there in the mouth of the cat, does she feel the fear of death? She feels the love of her mother. But when the mouse is there in the mouth of the cat, he feels the fear of death. So death will come, but one will anticipate that I am going back to the realm of God. I am going back to God, and another will see the death abode of Yamraj, the place of hell. So we are traveling in different bodies. Like you see, we are changing different bodies from cycle to motorcycle to car to aeroplane. It's like we are changing different bodies. Like we change different clothes. Sometimes we wear a shirt, tomorrow we may come in a t-shirt. Sometimes we are there in a dhoti. But the person is the same, but we are changing different bodies. So the person is going from one body to another body. So Krishna says The goal of life is defined in Bhagavad Gita, 8th chapter, 6th verse. It says that according to our activities and state of mind in this life, our next life will be decided. So our next life depends on what kind of activities you perform in this life. How it matters what kind of activities you perform in this life, because the kind of activities you do in this life, it creates an impact on the consciousness, right? It creates an impact on the consciousness, and that consciousness will go with the soul, and based on that consciousness, the mental state, a particular body will be framed. If the consciousness is filled with all sinful imprints, like you write in a paper and below that paper there is a carbon, so all the writings will be printed on the carbon copy also. So the mind is like a carbon copy of your gross activities. Whatever activities you are doing, a carbon print is going in the mind. An impression, a sanskara, it's called in Sanskrit samskara. A samskara is formed, an impression is formed. Sometimes we say, no, some person is there, he is very bad in his nature. So people say that he has bad samskaras. Bad samskaras means his upbringing is very bad. That not only the upbringing, his past life impressions are very bad. And another, his upbringing of this life is also very bad. And because of that, he has developed certain samskaras. The discipline, frivolousness, no discipline in life, all the time sinful mentality, cannot overcome his sinful mentality, cannot listen something good for himself, not for the society. So this is called, so we should understand this fact that on what basis our next body will be awarded. On what basis our next body will be awarded? On our mental state. So that we should remember. And we should perform activities in such a way that our mental state is properly taken care. So we are transferring from different bodies, one body to another body, one body to another body. Is this a good business? No, it's not a good business. It's not a good business to change different bodies. We should stop this business of changing bodies. And we should transfer ourselves to the realm of God, where there is no birth, no death. So as you sow, so shall you reap. The kind of activities you perform today, the similar kind of results you will enjoy after death, after this life. A similar kind of state you will attain. That is the kind of activities you do, a similar state you will attain. Some reactions are instant, but some reactions are delayed. Right? So the law of karma, you may not feel that I'm doing some bad activity and instantly I'm getting some results. You may feel that I did some sinful act and I escaped. Nothing happened. Right? One may feel very confident of it. But there are two kinds of reactions. If you smoke, immediately you will get some disease. If you hit somebody, immediately the next person will hit you. Right? Immediately you will get a reaction. But there are certain actions which have delayed reactions. For example, if you sow a seed, you will not get immediately the apples. It will take time, but the apples will come and you will have to eat those apples. Right? If you have sown the Karela seeds, you will have to eat those Karelas. Right? You cannot say, oh, from where this Karela came in my basket. Because you have gone into a garden and you are trying to collect all the vegetables. You have a basket, you have gone into the garden. But what kind of vegetables you will collect? Depends on what kind of seeds you have sown. You will get only Karela and Neem and Mirch. That means you have sown only Karela, Neem and Mirch. But if you get apple, bananas and mangoes, that means you have sown apple, banana and mangoes. So why am I suffering in life? I didn't do anything bad. Still I'm suffering. You may be good in this life, but you have done a lot of bad things in your past life. You may dress yourself as very innocent, but you are a sinful person. Right? The nature is remembering all the sins. You may artificially dress in a white cloth and claim the politicians. They're all sinful people. They commit a lot of crimes and then they become a politician. Right? And they try to cheat the public. But can they cheat the nature? Can they cheat God by dressing in a white cloth? Sometimes if a culprit or if a criminal is going to be punished in the court, and if the judge asked, no, the judge asked him that why did you do the crime? Sir, I didn't do the crime, but there are evidences you did the crime. So the criminal may say, sir, I was not there. How you are not there? You see the video recording there, you are there. You see, but the criminal said, no, sir, you see, I was wearing different clothes at that time, and now I'm no. That person is there in a different cloth, and I am there in a different cloth. So how both persons can be the same? If somebody gives that kind of argument, that means what? It's foolish. You are the same person. You may be in a different coat in your past life. You may be in a different body, but you are the same person. You will have to. Sometimes people ask, sir, why we are being punished of our past life sins? This is not good. Why you should not get punished? It's just that you have changed your dress and you're trying to be innocent. But this false innocence will not work. So we have to transform ourselves from inside. We have to transform our exploitative tendency to the mood of service. From the mood of exploitation to the mood of service. So there are 4 pillars of sinful life: meat eating, intoxication, gambling, and illicit sex. So we should have our illicit connections with one wife. We should not enjoy others' sisters, others' wife. Is this good? This is not good. Because any woman in VIT is somebody's sister, somebody's wife. If our sister will be enjoyed by somebody, we will feel bad. But we don't feel bad in enjoying somebody's sister. That means you are Ravana. You are Ravana. You want to enjoy somebody's wife, somebody's sister. You have to become Hanuman. Right or not? So we should not behave like a Ravana, because as much we are concerned for our sister, our mother, our wife, so we must be concerned that that woman also is somebody's sister, somebody's mother, somebody's wife. Does that make sense? Right? Is it exaggeration? Is it a botheration? I'm bothering you with these things? No. This is common sense. Right. So if you do these illicit things, then what will happen? You will be punished in hell. So what is the punishment for eating meat? So you will become a tiger. What is the punishment for excessive sleep? You will become a bear. How many of you would like to become a bear? If somebody exposes her body, most of the women nowadays, they feel good in exposing their body. You see? Then what will happen? They'll become trees, and their body will be, they'll stand like this. No clothes. Full exposed. You see the tree? The tree spreads its hands open and full naked, standing. The nature has its ways to teach us. So most of us, we learn in the school of hard knocks. Till the time we get hard knocks, we don't learn. So this is the hard knock. So if you do austerity, if you practice some austerity, we should practice these 4 things. This is like obeying God's laws. We should chant some mantra. We should wake up early. These are like austerities. Waking up early in the morning, chanting japa. We may not like it, but we should do it as an austerity, as a tapasya. Have you heard tapasya? Tapasya means if you want to purify something, you have to heat it. If you want to purify the milk, you have to heat it. If you want to purify the gold, you have to heat it. Then the impurities in the gold will vanish and the gold will be there. So tapasya is required. You cannot sit in your sofa and be in your AC and you will feel that you will become Krishna conscious. No, you have to get up early. You can be in your AC and sofa, but some tapasya should be there, right? Because we have to transform ourselves. So we have to do some tapasya. What is that? What is the tapasya in this age? Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram. The tapasya of this age is chanting the names of Lord. It's difficult, we may not like it, but we should do it. And then you'll see that after a few months, you'll see that your exploitative tendency, your enviousness, your greed, your lust is being controlled. Is being controlled. Austerity and sacrifice. We should do some sacrifice so that our selfishness will go away. And we should associate with saintly people, and we should read good books. These are the things which we are ABCD of Krishna consciousness. ABCDE. So what is the ABCDE of Krishna consciousness? Associating with saintly people, devotees, books, reading books. C, chanting. D, diet. E, engagement. Some seva. We should come here. This is a temple of Lord. We should try to do some seva. Sometimes you try to cut some vegetables. Sometimes you try to clean the hall. Sometimes you try to do whatever. Some menial seva, some little seva for the service of Lord. In that way, we will be purified, and it is said in this shloka, you see, after attaining me, the great souls who are yogis in devotion never return to this temporary world, which is full of, because they have attained the highest perfection. So this will be the end. We'll have a wonderful end. And once you reach to the goal of abode of Lord, then there is no birth, death, old age, and disease, and there is no other sufferings. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Okay. So, if you have any question, we'll take. You take prasadam. It's already 8:30. Let me take prasadam. Questions we can discuss while prasadam. Hare Krishna. So immediately we'll go there, take prasadam, and we will go back. It is 9 o'clock.